Hi everyone, it's Mark here. I'm the founder of the Arts and Culture Network. And as you know, this is my favorite part of the job. This is where I get to meet our members. And I'm delighted that Bill Bruner has joined us. Bill's in Bailey in Colorado and runs the Bailey Theatre there and is a long-time professional actor with a strange detour into banking and taxes. So Bill, would you like to say hello and introduce yourself to everyone?
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm Bill Bruner. I'm president and managing director of the Bailey Theater Company.
Great. And for those who don't know their North American geography as well as they might, where are you? So Colorado is, remind us where Colorado is, and I think you're just outside Denver, aren't you?
Yeah, so Colorado is in the Rocky Mountain portion. We're closer to the West Coast than we are to the Midwest or the East Coast, but we're in a very different kind of climate and area than areas near us. So the closest states to us are Nebraska, Kansas, Wyoming's north of us, but we're a little square. It's actually pretty big in square miles, but it's a very unique place to live.
I surprised you earlier, didn't I, by standing outside your house on Google Earth?
Yeah, that's okay.
Brilliant. So tell me, wherever this appears, there'll be a little biog of you and your backstory, but for the benefit of our watchers and our listeners, tell me how the Bailey Theatre Company came about.
Well, the Bailey Theater Company came about as a community effort. We are a town that's in between Denver and a lot of the mountain ski resorts. So people drive through here all the time, and the Chamber of Commerce wanted something to get people to stop and spend money in the town. So they came to me and said, you know, you've got this arts background. We think a theater would be the perfect answer. Would you start a theater? So that's how it was born.
Great. And I gather you do two major productions a year at the moment. And the website is baileytheatrecompany.org. And you're spelling theatre the English way.
The correct way.
So that's Bailey Theatre Company, Theatre. Brilliant. So Bill, thank you so much for joining us and telling us a little bit about the Bailey Theatre Company. Do please go and have a look. There'll be links wherever this appears, so you can go and explore. I know you've got plans for making it possible for those who can't get to the shows to watch them somehow. But also, I gather you're going to build a new home.
Yeah, that's our short-term goal in the next 1 to probably 3 years, is that we would like to either find a facility that we can rent that's going to be worthwhile, or the preferred option is to build something and create a new theater in this community that can also be used for community meetings and things like that.
That sounds like a fantastic idea. And I wrote down a little phrase because I know you're quite keen that this theatre experience for people, which, as we discussed, might involve a glass of wine or three, and a picnic or a barbecue. That would be great. So it's the whole experience that you want to allow people to have, you know, from a dining experience, a social experience, and a create artistic experience as well.
Yeah.
I think that's a great combination of those three things that would get me down the road from Denver, especially if it's in a lovely rural setting. But you said you were keen that this should be quite an intimate theatre experience with people no more than 4 rows from the stage almost.
That's correct. So that's always been my dream for the theater, is to create a thrust stage that was seating on 3 sides and no one being further than 4 rows back from the stage, so that they can really experience the acting, the performance that's going on in front of them. I think it draws people in, and I think at this time, after everything that's happened for COVID and everything else, I think theaters are having problems bringing people back. And I think one of the things that can bring them back is to make it more intimate and more relatable one-on-one to people.
Yeah, I think that sounds great. So I think you kind of you're in the process of inventing chamber theatre, which is nice. Because you can
Yeah.
have that phrase for nothing. So we've got classical music. We've got classical music, which is typically symphonic. We've got chamber music, which is not. It's much more intimate. So you're inventing chamber theatre, unless I've
Yes.
made that up myself, which is great. Well, I wish you the best of luck for that. But one of the things that I like to do on these calls, for the benefit of those who haven't had the pleasure of meeting you, as I now have, we like to play a little game. Um,
Okay.
now Bill has cheated. um, I normally spring this on unsuspecting new members, but this is a first for me. I haven't done so many of these. This is fun. So I wanted to understand a little bit more about Bill's preferences in the arts and culture sector. So I'm going to ask Bill for his favorite across 10 different art forms and pose some difficult questions. So if I can just find where've they gone? They've gone. There we go. But I think you've probably watched another video and made some crib sheets. So this is going to be really interesting. It's actually fascinating because most people have to do it off the cuff. So here we go. Are you happy to give it a try?
I am.
I did threaten, didn't I, to change the categories, which would have been hilarious. Okay, Bill. So do you have a favorite building? And if so, why?
Favorite building. Oh, I am such a guy of history, so I would tell you that probably the Eiffel Tower.
Okay, I've seen some images recently of it being built with people with steeplejacks climbing up without any kind of safety equipment, banging rivets in, millions of them rivets. Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah,
Yes,
really.
I was just there last year, and so it was, yeah, amazing
Yeah,
to see in person.
yeah, it's fantastic. I live a little closer than you do, so that that helps. Um, and what about a favorite book, Bill?
My favorite book. Well, my favorite book probably is the one that kind of changed my life, and it's by Deepak Chopra. It's called The Return of Merlin.
Right, I'm making a note of that one. Return of Merlin. If it can change your life, it's definitely worth a read.
Oh, it is. It's
Excellent.
a very easy read, and I've had a thing going. It was first released about 25 years ago, and I have a thing going since 25 years ago that I have bought extra copies and I give them to people and tell them to either give it to someone else or give it back to me. I haven't gotten one back yet.
Brilliant. That's good. I do something similar for a friend and author who's he has done some of the talks at our events, by the way, and his his book is Be More Pirate, and his name is Sam Conniff, Conniff. It's a wonderful read. It's these sessions always produce detours, right? So here's mine. Um, the In the golden age of piracy between about 1680 and 1720, the 1500 pirates kept four national navies on the run for 40 years.
Mhm.
And they did so by scaling without growing. And there is so much that we don't know and so much that we think we know, which is not true. Nobody ever walked a plank, right? Some of the finest pirate leaders were women. Over 60% of most pirates aboard a ship were liberated slaves and not white. And they created the first welfare system, because if you lost an eye, you got a certain number of doubloons. Same with a leg, same with an arm, and you were given a job somewhere else on the ship. It was and so it and they had their own pirate code that they would stick to. It's incredible that, and of course they invented the first globally recognized logo in the skull and crossbones 300 years before Coca-Cola hit us. So what the book does is it sort of analyzes how you can use those principles in your own life and in your own business. And it's quite a remarkable read. And the modern day pirates are out there: Elon Musk, Malala, Greta. Anyone who's just sort of refusing to sort of adhere to the status quo. Elon, yeah. So yeah, that would be my recommendation. Be More Pirate by Sam
Okay.
Connell. Sorry, I digress. Now, do you have a favorite dancer? And if not a favorite dancer, then a dance group. And if not a group, then a style.
Um, well, I like classic stuff, so I'm going to go with Mikhail Baryshnikov. I think ballet is beautifully done when it's done correctly. Very wonderful expression of the human body and of telling a story. So yeah, that's what I would go with, Mikhail Baryshnikov.
Nice. Haven't had him before. That's a good one. I like that. Nice. Now this one's quite intriguing for me. So I want you to assume that you've been exiled from the United States for some unknown misdemeanor.
Okay.
But you're allowed to choose where you're going to live based on your perception of that country's culture. So where are you off to?
Well, that's an easy one for me. I just spent 2 weeks there 3 months ago, so Ireland.
Ireland. Lovely. I gather there are more Irish people in Chicago than there are in Ireland now.
That's correct, yes. And that's where I grew up, is Chicago. So my mother is, by DNA, my mother's 97% Irish. So
Wow. I think I'm actually more Irish than I am British, I think, based on my DNA, which is hilarious. I like that. Okay, you can go to Ireland with your Mikhail Baryshnikov videos and your book. Now, as either as a participant or a spectator, do you have a favorite sport?
well, when I was younger, I played almost every major sport in the US. I haven't played some of the ones that you have over in Europe, but I would tell you that my favorite sport, probably because it was, well, there's probably two, because I was very good at both of them: baseball and golf.
Okay. Well, golf we have in common. In fact,
Yeah.
we invented it, by the way.
I, yeah, I think I read that somewhere.
I must tell you a funny story about two old guys were playing together, and they were on the eighth green, and which was quite close to a road, a little country road, and a hearse drove past very slowly, respectfully, and one of the old gentlemen took his hat off and put his head down like this until the hearse had passed. And his playing colleague said to him, "That was very, very respectful of you." And he said, "Oh, it was the least I could do. We were married for 60 years.
But I'm not missing my tea time.
Excellent. Okay, good. Yeah, we have golf. We also have cricket, which is a mystery to most Americans. Any game that can last 5 days and be a draw shouldn't be allowed. Right. Okay, now this one's quite cruel. I'm going to limit you to one musical genre for the rest of your life.
Oh, that's easy for me. Rock,
Okay.
especially
And
classical rock.
who'd
So,
be on the guest list there?
oh, the Beatles, Pink Floyd. I like Bob Seger from the U.S.
Mm,
Um, oh, I even go a little crazy with oh gosh, now I'm going blank on their names. Def Leppard.
mm,
So yeah, that's a
nice.
few.
I like that. That's great. Love it. Um, okay, so you're listening to classic rock, watching baseball in Ireland with Mikhail Baryshnikov, reading your Return of Merlin, and dreaming about going back up the Eiffel Tower. There we are so far. I love the picture that presents. Now, do you have a favorite visual artist?
I do, and actually have an original painting by him, Peter Max.
Okay, I don't know the name. Should I?
You should.
Right.
Yeah,
Uh,
60s pop artist, and
okay.
he's done a lot of stuff, at least in the States. I don't know how well he's known in Europe, but
Hmm.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
about 82 or 83 now. And
Oh,
so I have
okay.
an original of his paintings downstairs. I also love animation art, so I have about 20 Disney animation cells.
Do you? Nice. Friend of mine collects original comic book art, sort of the Stan, what's his name stuff.
Yeah, Stanley.
Stanley, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I met him once.
did you?
Yeah.
You and Nick would get on very well. He's just about to start a website called Connectable, which is for people to trade on. So, excellent. What about a favorite play?
Ah, now you're it's like trying to pick your best child, right?
Yeah.
Um Favorite play. I I think I'm gonna say To Kill a Mockingbird.
Nice. That's been on. That's been a production in the UK recently, hasn't it? It's done extremely well. It probably came over from the States, I imagine. So, yeah,
Yeah, I was in it 25 years ago.
yeah. And what about a film or a music? Oh, sorry, musical. Do you have a favorite musical?
Favorite musical is Camelot.
Nice. Yeah, very nice. Um, and what about a favorite film?
Favorite film. I'm a very diverse guy, so I have a lot of different genres that I like as far as film and theater. But I'll say The Sixth Sense.
Okay, with the trick in the tail, the twist.
Yes,
Yes, which we mustn't
yes.
mention, just in case everyone wants. Yeah, it's a great movie. Yeah, it's one of those movies that has a quote that you can always find. You know, I see dead people. You know, isn't it? Brilliant. I think the one of my favorite movie for quotes that you can remember is probably as good as it gets with Jack Nicholson and Helen Hunt. Um, you know, there's if you're selling crazy, you can move away. We're all stocked up here. You know that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. No, my favorite quote was about when you know the movie,
yeah.
Jack Nicholson. I'm going to watch it again tonight, I think. Um, it's when he's a famous author and the receptionist in his publisher's office is a big fan, and she's fawning at him and he's trying to leave and she says, oh, how do you write women so well? And he said, I think of a man and I take away reason and accountability. Brilliant. Love that. You can get away with murder. Now, final one for this one. Apart from me, who was the last person to make you laugh?
Oh, I love to laugh. So I laugh at everything. So probably the last meeting that I had, which was yesterday with someone at a local business. We were talking about stuff and we were laughing about stuff. So
Yeah.
it's one of my things that I just love to do. I've been told by people I have a very unique laugh, and when I was acting, uh, they liked it so much that they would bring me in for final dress rehearsals with no one else in the audience, so that the actors could start to learn where the laugh lines were, because I wasn't afraid to laugh by myself.
Brilliant. I love it. You have a very infectious laugh. You do. Bill, thank you for that. That's great. Now we're going to whistle through these ones. Okay. So I'm going to give
All
you,
right.
it's an either or, and you have to choose one.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Tea or coffee?
More tea lately.
Mm-hmm. Radio or TV?
TV.
Car or motorcycle?
Car.
Comedy or horror?
Comedy.
Concert platform or sports stadium?
Concert platform.
Where are we? Cat or dog?
Dog. I have two of them.
Test the water or jump in the deep end?
Jump in the deep end.
Bits or no bits in your orange juice?
Bits.
Library or a museum?
Museum.
Beethoven or Mozart? Oh, I think we've lost Bill. He might come back. Right in the middle we were. Let's give him a moment, see if he comes back. Can you hear me, Bill? Not to worry. We'll tag another little video onto this. Thanks, everyone.